Good evening, everybody. You don't look a day over maybe 30 or 40, 100 years, huh? Let's see. I see everybody is here. The board is here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a report of action taken in closed session? I'm kind of stalling because she's doing something.
Sorry, Madam President, my tablet wasn't
No
working.
worries.
But we have no report this evening.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Without my Chromebook, it's really, really hard here. So patience with me.
Sure.
Okay. No, I'll do paper right now while we're moving forward. Let's see here. Where is it? Oh, thank you for your patience. General functions, item D. I'd like to pull that.
From the consent calendar, yes?
From the consent
Item
calendar.
D. ABCD, the Attendance Awareness Month.
Yes.
Okay.
And if we could move that, right below A.
So right after the LCAP.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Any other changes to the agenda? Okay, may I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay, let's vote.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Amy. Communications to the Board of Trustees from our various community and district groups. Educational leadership. Thank you. Business services. No report. South Bay PTA Council. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, President Ellsworth, board members, Superintendent Espinosa, and community. Our PTAs have been very busy with membership. Some of you received an email from me. And they're doing a fantastic job. I'm pleased to announce that as of noon today, we have 744 members. Last year, at the end of the year, we had 411. So yay PTA team. Nestor is in the lead at 356 members, which is astounding. So I'm finding as I'm attending back to school nights, and I've done several, that the parents are well attended. They're excited to be back on campus. They want to be in our schools helping everybody. And it's really refreshing. I'm so excited because it reminds me of days past when I started back with PTA 30 years ago. So I'm very excited that they're getting back into being interested in their children's education and being on campus. I'm very pleased to announce that we have elected a new board at Bayside today at 4 o'clock. We had way more than quorum. It was very exciting. So Bayside has a brand new PTA board as of 4 o'clock today. Woohoo! And last night at Mendoza's back to school night, I was able to announce that we have 5 parents that are willing to run for their board. So their election will be on September 6th. So if you are a member at at Mendoza, please make sure that you tune in and vote. We need your vote. Need to make quorum. Let's see. I did that one. These were our last two schools needing PTA boards, so every school will have a PTA board this year. Our new board members are very excited to get started and have some great ideas. Students and parents, great ideas for a great year for our students and parents. And lastly, I would like to give a shout out to board member Liker for joining Nestor's PTA. Thank you. To board clerk Quinones for joining Oneonta, Berry, and IBCS. And a big thank you to President Ellsworth and Superintendent Espinoza, who have joined every school in the district. So thank you very much. Your support means so much to us, and we look forward to a wonderful year of working together. Thank you. I'm going to float back to my seat.
Thank you, Susan. All right. California School Employees Association, Chapter 59, better known as CSCA. Southwest Teachers Association, better known as SWATA.
Good evening, President, trustees, executive team, colleagues, and community members. We're off to a bumpy start of the school year. We're really concerned with the amount of open, unfilled positions, specifically in the SPED department. The amount of students that are not being serviced by a certificated teacher is concerning. I ask you to please look into that and see how we can work together so that our most needy students can get what they deserve. At our last rep council, the SWATA rep council approved the resolution for educational justice, which is around community schools. I have a copy for you guys. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read a few points. Whereas the students of the South Bay Union School District deserve a public school system that delivers on the promise of educational justice so that every student has the opportunity to succeed academically and in their life, to achieve their dreams and contribute to the well-being of their community and our society. Whereas according to a report from the Learning Policy Institute, the 4 key pillars of an evidence-based community school approach, integrated student supports, expanded and enriched learning time and opportunities, active family and community engagement, and collaborative leadership and practices, promote conditions and practices found in high-quality schools, as well as addresses out-of-school barriers to learning. Whereas Southwest Teachers Association defines a community school as a school that includes each of the following: integrated student supports, expanded and enriched learning time and opportunities, active family and community engagement, and collaborative leadership and practices. We, the Southwest Teachers Association, look forward to working collaboratively with you guys to form a steering committee that's going to support the movement of community schools here in South Bay. So we look forward to hearing from the superintendent's office or from the board president to start looking into what that's going to look like for our students, as we do have, I believe, 2 years to implement our planning grant and then hopefully move forward into an implementation grant. Over the summer, myself and some members from our executive team had the opportunity to go to the Summer Institute presented by CTA, where we learned about what a true community school looks like. We had experts from NEA who have been doing this work for many years, and experts from CTA as well that are willing to come out to our district at no cost to us to support us in the work. And so I look forward to hearing from you, President Ellsworth. Thank you.
Thank you. District Superintendent.
Good evening, President Ellsworth, board members, community members that are here with us today. As of today, South Bay has been in session for about a month. Thank you to our teachers and staff for a great launch to the school year. This month, we welcomed a team of researchers and San Diego County Office of Education staff to VIP Village and Nestor Language Academy to observe best practices related to early education and from kindergarten through grade 3. The team met with site leaders and visited classrooms. Thank you to Director Syverson, Principal Gonzalez, and for welcoming these visitors to your campuses and highlighting some of our amazing work. Last evening, Trustee Ellsworth, Assistant Superintendent Pamela Reichert Montiel, and I were at VIP Village for a family reading night. It was an amazing event. If you missed it, VIP at Nikolov will be hosting their reading event next Wednesday. Last weekend, South Bay, like all California, or at least Southern California mainly districts, prepared for Hurricane Hilary. Thankfully, the storm decreased and our county was spared widespread damage. I want to recognize several departments for their support throughout this process. Thank you to the maintenance, operations, and facility staff for your work at our sites on Friday and over the weekend. Not only did we have to prepare for a storm, we had to ensure that our schools were ready for students to return on Monday. This team worked to address flooding, leaks, drainage issues, landscape damage, and much more. And because of their work, our schools were safe for them on Monday. Thank you to the principals and directors for meeting with me on Sunday to discuss preparations needed to ensure the safety of our staff and students and to make sure that we had clear communication with families. Thank you to the executive team for working throughout the weekend to problem solve facility needs, substitute availability, staff absences, and communication, among many other last-minute updates. Things were changing quickly, and I am grateful for their support. On behalf of the board, we are grateful for your work and dedication to the students and families of South Bay.
Yes. Thank you. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
We do. Andrea Cano.
Before you
afternoon.
start, I'm sorry, I
That's okay.
should have done this before I had you called out. I would like to read this for everybody. The board will take no action or be able to discuss any item that's not appearing on our posted agenda, except authorized by law. Individual speakers are only allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each non-agenda item. Speakers are not permitted to yield their time to another person, and the board limits the total time for public comment on each item to 20 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Andrea Cano, and I apologize. This is a very unscripted sort of comment, and obviously it's emotionally charged because it does involve my child. My daughter was assaulted on the way home from school by a group of students. It was very premeditated. One of them had a ski mask on. We have it on video. It has been addressed, but my daughter has been being assaulted by one student in particular for at least, I want to say, almost the past 2 years. There have been multiple reports, multiple comments, and through word of mouth, I have found out that my daughter is not the only one. She is the 3rd or 4th victim that this particular student has assaulted. We have gone as far as filing a restraining order against her, which the judge had no problem granting. This not only includes her back and forth at school on campus, but this has come to their coming to our house because we live in the neighborhood. I understand that is not part of the umbrella with the school, but it is now on law enforcement's agenda. They all know what's going on because we've had to call the law enforcement several times. And my concerns are that my daughter will not be the last victim of this student. And I just don't feel like it is appropriate. She's not receiving appropriate discipline. I have been receiving support from, I don't know how to pronounce his last name properly, but Tom and Mr. Carroll have been very supportive. But I just want the school and the board to be advised of the student's behavior. I know everybody is aware, but we are taking action. We have assault charges filed, and this got to be stopped somewhere. I mean, this girl has put fear into many students in the school, and I just don't feel like her presence in the school is appropriate anymore. And we, as a family, don't really know how to proceed with this. We're doing everything in our power, but we do live in the community. We've been here for 15 years, and we are not going anywhere. And we just want to make sure, I worry every day at 3 p.m. Is my daughter safe? Is she home from school? Obviously, we're working parents, so I'm watching her every day. She has to call. But this is constant fear that she's going to be assaulted. And I just don't feel like this girl's, it is being dealt with, but I don't know that it's appropriate the way it's being dealt with. I just don't feel like, I feel like she may need more discipline or something going on. So I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the board, and hopefully something can be done to address this. Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
Mark Anthony Hall.
Good evening, President Ellsworth and trustees, Superintendent Espinoza. I stand in front of you excited. I can't keep the smile off my face these days. My purpose is to reintroduce myself to you formally. I have been on a 20 board tour, and this is my 16th board meeting. I'm the most informed person in San Diego County right now, what's going on in all the school districts. I am the executive director of Manhood ABC, which is the Adolescent Behavior Challenge, which was designed for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade boys. But at the urging of many counselors, they wanted us to start younger. So we adapted our curriculum. It's called What All Boys Should Know. And basically we deal with kids who have social and emotional learning deficits, post-COVID anxiety, learning loss, you name it, we work with them. And the exciting news is that out of the board meetings I've been to, this fall we'll be working in Santee District Schools, Grossmont Union High School, San Ysidro, Sweetwater, Chula Vista. The MOUs are in. And it's exciting to know that the schools are demanding the community to step up. And we always have demanded the parents to step up. The whole goal again is parents, community, school. I always tell everybody, school is the third rung. It's not supposed to be the first person where a kid feels love. It should start at home. And then the neighborhood should love them. And of course, school teachers are always going to love them. And so I'm glad, and I heard the PTA say about the community schools. I think it's a great corridor to get more community groups like myself involved. But we're excited, and we're hoping that we can come to South Bay. Actually, one of the teachers, I think Ms. Chan, she's one of the new assistant principals. I just saw her the other day. I was escorting 8th graders to their freshman biology classes the other day. That's what we do. They're on campus scared to death. We let them know, hey, we're with you all the way. But I just wanted to formally come before you, tell you who I am. As I told all the board members, I've Googled everybody. And so I knew everybody via the internet, but it's always good to see you face to face. You can see me face to face, but I'm excited. You know, I've always told people my favorite expression is that I used to be a boy. I had 2 fabulous parents who were married 64 years, but there's something called age appropriate behavior. A 13, 14, 15-year-old boy, he got the best parents in the world. He does dumb stuff. His frontal lobe is still, I always say, it's made of a little bit of rubber and some other things up there where they just don't get some things just yet. And so that's why you need the discipline from all fronts. But we're here to help the boys. There's a demographic of boys who, as you know, keep falling through the cracks. And anything anybody can do to hold on to them until they have their epiphanies. I had my epiphany in 10th grade. So I need to get my act together or I'm not going to be anything. And so I say, hey, man, you need to step your game up. That's what we do. That's what we call ours a challenge. We challenge the boys, a little bit restorative justice, but more on, hey, they have to be humanized first before they can do restoring anything. And a lot of the boys, based on their homes, have been dehumanized. They don't feel even like they're part of the family. They don't feel like they're part of communities. They come to school and they give the teachers hell. But anyhow, I have a packet. I want to officially give this to you, President, and to you, Mr. Superintendent Espinoza, and hopefully we can disseminate and talk. But I'm so excited by the reception that I've received in the educational community. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, we are on to our action items, discussion and action items. Educational leadership. I'd like to recognize Assistant Superintendent Pamela Reichert Montiel for the LCAP update.
Ryan, the PowerPoint is not displaying.
Oh, all right. All right. Thank you. Good evening, President Ellsworth, Superintendent Espinosa, trustees, executive team, colleagues, and all of our educational partners with us this evening. I come before you with an update on the 23-24 LCAP. Just a reminder, we are in year 3 of a 3-year LCAP. As you're probably very familiar with, these are our actions under Goal 1. This evening, my update will be on specifically on Goal 1. Our actions related to Goal 2 and Goal 3. So as I mentioned, our updates this evening will be specifically on Goal 1 with the emphasis on the activities related to academics and professional development. Before I get into the LCAP update, I did want to share with you an enrollment update, just so that we keep you apprised of where we are at in enrollment. So we kept the information from the last meeting in July, on July 25th, what enrollment was, and then we've added as of August 23rd. So you can see that the enrollment has increased. We were projected at 5,551. We are currently sitting at 5,594. So that is an increase of 43 students. As you can see, we did increase in TK. So we were at about 187 and we're at 199. But you can also see that VIP increased in enrollment. So yay to VIP, because we want to see them coming in at those early years and increasing enrollment at that point and continuing on up. So we are excited that we have increased enrollment beyond what our projections were. So again, this evening, our updates will be on these areas in the LCAP under Goal 1, under Student Progress Monitoring, TOSA support and professional learning, curriculum adoptions and supplemental instructional materials, and district and site level English learner support. Just keeping in mind that the preliminary embargo data, or the preliminary data is still embargoed. So what we have is just preliminary data on our student progress monitoring when it's as related to CAS. These are actually separate action steps when you look at the LCAP. So it's student progress monitoring. TOSAs are separated out by the content area. We have professional learning. Then we have curriculum adoptions as a separate action, and then supplemental instructional materials. And then we have the district and site level English learner support. So I did want to point that out. I just put some of them together because they are connected. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a look at the preliminary CAST data. I'll pull that up. So, that's the other one. Yep. Okay. So just taking a look at the preliminary data. What we've put the data in, and I was here last year around the same time sharing the same graph or chart, I guess I should say, with the preliminary data. When the dashboard is released, we will come back with more information specifically related to the dashboard and how this translates into the dashboard. But if you can just take a look at the preliminary data related to students who met or exceeded standards in ELA, you can see that our current year is the sort of red year. And last year, well, I should say last year's scores are red. We got them this year. And then the black are 21, 22. So you can see in ELA, third grade, and they are provided by grade level. We've seen a small increase in both ELA and math. Actually, in math, it was a greater increase from 21% to 29%. And again, these are students who met or exceeded standards. In fourth grade, you can see a little dip. Again, a 1% isn't considered typically statistically significant. This is preliminary data. That doesn't mean that's exactly where their numbers are going to fall when it's all finalized. But that is fourth grade. Fifth grade with slight increases. Sixth grade, you can see a pretty nice increase in ELA and about a 3% in math. The next slide is seventh and eighth grade. So you can see a decrease in ELA for both seventh and eighth grade, a little bit smaller of a decrease in eighth grade. You see a slight 1% increase in the eighth grade math, and then seventh grade sort of stayed the same. So this data was shared with principals, and principals did share it with their staff, with teachers who had the opportunity to just look at these grade level preliminary results, as well as teachers have the ability to look at their students. So I know that they've already started a lot of conversations around the data and what it means, and what work still needs to be done. Maybe that is it. So we're going to go out of that and we'll go into the LPAC. So with the LPAC data, we did provide you just so that you know, as far as our demographics. So this is this year's demographics for language proficiency. So we have, and you'll see EL and multilingual learner. So just keep that in mind, that English learner is how it's usually reported, but we are trying to move in the direction of saying multilingual learners, since we want to use a term that represents additive, and that I'm a multilingual learner. It's not about English being better than another language. So, but just know that there are the terms of English only coming in without a second language. Multilingual learner are English learners that are coming in with another language and learning English. So that's this year. So that's our split this year. Last year, this are the results that we're going to see for the summative. So last year we had 45.5% in English only students, 45.5% in multilingual learners, and then our RFEP students were 9.1%. And we really work towards reclassifying our English learners to RFEP, reclassified fluent English proficient, so that because we really do see that they show mastery of both languages, as well as perform well on the standardized assessments. And that is aside from all of the benefits that we talk about of being bilingual, biliterate, bicultural, but just saying that that is a student group that historically does well. So these are the LPAC summative overall scores. And so what we've done is just put them by grade. Am I missing? Oh, sorry. So here's our years. So 2022 for all students and 2023 for all students. And so what you can see is that our level 1 stayed about the same. Our level 2 stayed about the same, but you can see a slight decrease in level 3 and an increase in level 4. So that's actually a positive thing to see because we do often find that our students will plateau at that level 3 and we want to move them to level 4. Now this is by grade level. So you can see kindergarten, and it is interesting when you watch just as the students move across. Again, these are not perfect cohorts, but you can see as the grade level increases, you see more students moving into those level 3 and level 4 bands. And this is 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And we want to see that happen. We want to see the decrease from 23 to 16 to 12 in level 1 and increase in those 3s and 4s ultimately, but from 34 to 39 to 40 and the increase in the 13, 17, and 19. And lastly, our 7th and 8th grade. Nice big jump in the level 3. We see that 27% in the level 4, where ultimately that's where we want to see them, especially exiting middle school and going into high school. Oops, I went too far. Okay. All right. Our next item is under professional learning. I wanted to share that we have professional learning happening for our site administrators as well. And sometimes that's not shared. This year, we're doing something a little bit differently. We have assigned a leadership coach to each of our principals or principal AP teams. And that was the executive team or is the executive team and all of our educational leadership directors. Our primary focus this year with our principals is on the California Professional Standards for Education Leaders, the CAPSUL Standard 2. And that Standard 2 is around instructional leadership. So you can see that it says education leaders shape a collaborative culture of teaching and learning informed by professional standards and focused on student and professional growth. So all of us are meeting with our, I guess I would call them coachees, but the principals or principal assistant principal team, and looking at instruction, talking about instruction using that CAPSUL Standard 2. Some of us have 2, but everyone has a coach that they are connecting with on a regular basis. And that's in addition to any other. For example, I am not Nestor's coach, but today I was at Nestor doing walkthroughs, discussing instruction, talking about coaching. And I did that at 3 schools today, and I'm not coaching those schools, but that's a regular going out, regular work. So really the coach is an extra layer of just one-on-one support. So this year, this is where I've connected curriculum adoptions and supplemental instructional materials, because this year we are focused on literacy in the following areas. We are focused on GLAD, Guided Language Acquisition Design Strategies. We are also focused on guided reading using leveled books in small group settings, which is reading instruction to students at their instructional level, and then formative assessments. Last year, our TOSAs provided professional development to all of our primary teachers on the guided reading level books. And so we have materials, we have books and they have guides. And so teachers have the lesson plan for them to be able to do guided reading. And many schools have set up book rooms to go in and get them. And some other schools, they might be sitting on their shelves in their classroom. But they did receive that professional development last year. So we're hopeful that we would see guided reading in all of our primary classrooms. Our upper grade teachers are scheduled to receive that professional development this year. So it doesn't mean they don't already have the resource, But this year we've scheduled to provide the professional development to all of our upper grade teachers. And then as far as the assessments are concerned, I broke it out into the different grade levels because TK has their own committee. The transitional kindergarten teachers have a committee and they meet regularly. And this committee is looking at the transitional kinder standards, which are more play-based. And they have been identifying not only instructional strategies and potential curriculum, but what their formative assessments are going to be. For our kinder through second grade teachers, we are looking at common assessments, and they're discussing common assessments in phonics, vocabulary, sight words, and writing. And this is in addition to the FNP or DRA that they are giving for a reading level. Or if they're at one of our schools that's piloting iReady, then they're using iReady. But what they're doing is coming together and really taking a closer look at what are all the assessments, formative assessments that colleagues are using, and coming to an agreement of what they are going to use across their grade level. So they're working together on this because we do have a lot of different assessments that are being used. But we really wanted to make sure that teachers were able to come together and talk about what's working, what's not working, and what it is that they need. So I'm going to give you an example of an assessment that some of you might be familiar with, but the BPST is an assessment that we used in the past, and many teachers are still using that. So they're bringing that forward and sharing what they feel the benefits are of using that particular assessment, as well as identifying what their writing formative assessment is going to be. And in most cases, it's a narrative story that the students are writing. In third through sixth grade, the students are administered the FNP or the DRA for their reading level, but they are also beginning, if they haven't already, because many teachers were already using them, but they're using the interim assessment block, the IABs. So that's in third through eighth grade. And so what we've done this year is set aside administrative or the admin-led PLC Wednesdays, where this is what they're discussing. So they're coming together to either learn about the assessment or talk about the assessment or bring assessment results forward and analyze the data. So I know that was a lot of information, but that is what we're doing in the literacy area. I wanted to share that our TOSAs support our schools and the professional learning. So all of the things that I mentioned around the literacy, they are supporting those areas of literacy this year. We have indicated to principals that we also want to have a focus on math standards as we enter into we'll receive the new math framework, and then we will be looking at new math adoptions. But really, we felt that all schools could focus on the literacy areas of GLAD, the guided reading, and the formative assessments. So what we did differently this year is, and this was something that we had done in the past, it feels like pre-pandemic, where the TOSAs are assigned to schools. So currently we have a TOSA assigned to 2 schools. I do want to point out that in the time that I first created this PowerPoint and today, we do have we have 2 open positions, but we have an open position in language development assigned to Nickoloff and Sunny Slope, and we do still have an unfilled position in our math and science TOSA. So I do want to acknowledge that this schedule showed 1 TOSA assigned to 2 schools. And you can see their content area, but they are supporting in the literacy in addition to their content area. And then they also have in their, and you can see we also noted IB because IB does not pay for TOSA support in their LCAP, but they can still do teacher requests. And then the TOSAs do have the flexibility in their schedule to accommodate individual teacher or principal requests at schools that they're not assigned to. I think what's really important about this is just to acknowledge that we always have to revisit what we're doing and see if it's working. And so this is the plan for for right now and looking at, is it working? Is it not working? I know that some of the positive things that I've already heard is about the ability to build a relationship with the TOSA at the site level. So I think that's really nice. The continuous support, and then really looking at their area of expertise to assign. So for example, if it was, let's say with the language development, was looking at our dual language schools and what their needs were, or if a school was working in a particular SEL area, or the equity and inclusion, or had already started a lot of that work last year, was to be able to support that and continue that work. The next slide is about district and site level English learner support. The slide focuses on GLAD because of the fact that that's one of our literacy areas that we want to continue to support. We do have 3 TOSAs currently, now 2, that participated in extensive training with the County Office of Ed. We do have some sites that are fully trained in phases 1 and 2. And then, as I mentioned already, the TOSAs are supporting GLAD strategies at the site level. The other nice thing about it being a focus with principals and walkthroughs is that we're looking at that as well. And there is definitely a wide range of what I'll call expertise or knowledge in guided language acquisition design, because many teachers were trained in the past. Some have been using it. We were just walking through classrooms at Nestor and saw examples across many classrooms in our walkthroughs. But it definitely is something that we want to see for our English learners, so that the content, that they can more easily access the content, but are just really good strategies for all students. All right. Any questions about any of the topics that I shared this evening? I have some. Shall I start? You want to start?
Please, thank you, Madam President. Thank you for all your work. I mean, this is just a lot of information. And if you haven't taken us on a walk all year, we wouldn't know what you're talking about. But we do. So thank you for your work. First, your whole department, all our leaders. I think it's good strategy that not only district staff are assigned to schools, but you're also able to pop in. And I know what that looks like. I know what it feels like too. So when you pop in, even when the board pops in for their visit to the school site, children are always working. They don't look up, but they act like it's, a normal event. It's not like, 20 years ago where they were shocked that somebody was coming into the room. So how is it now that we have our coaches on top of coaches and TOSAs and all these leadership teams going down into the classrooms? How are children receiving that, and how are teachers responding to the support?
Well, I can speak for myself. When I go into classrooms, students are eager to talk with us and tell us what they're learning and tell us what they're doing. So that's part of the conversation, is what is the learning intention or the learning objective of that lesson, or what's happening in the classroom. Again, I was at 3 sites today, and teachers approached me and wanted to share what they were doing. So I think it's very positive. I find that from the leadership at the administration at the school to the certificated staff and the classified staff are eager to share what they're doing and shine. So I have had nothing but positive, to be honest. But I can only speak for myself.
Well, as our assistant superintendent of instruction, that says a lot to me, that you and staff and management are well received at the school site. That's really important, because it should be welcoming in all facets of schools. I was really impressed that you spoke about the new math curriculum that's coming down our way, and the framework, and how I know our curriculum and instruction committee will be working on all of this going forward, but Sweetwater's already implementing the framework around the new math adoption, and it's already happening at the high school levels, where pathways are drawn from 5th grade, say math. And so their pathways are drawn, and so by the time they go through middle and high school, their pathway is already set forward through counselor and coursework. And so when our teams go down and developing pathways for students and for successful outcomes, our scores and our support teams, when they focus on pathways for students, like our TK is developing this pathway. And by the time they get to 2nd and 3rd grade, these pathways need to be shared across grade levels, scaffolding up. And so are we talking between grade levels in developing pathways for students by the time they get to 3rd to 5th grade, that they are not left behind in a pathway that they now are in remedial in middle or high school?
So I think there's a couple of parts to your question. When I think in terms of pathways, I think you're speaking of more the secondary system pathway to courses.
Yeah.
I also like to think of the vertical articulation around standards. So that's the work that we would be doing, is that articulation across grade levels regarding math standards and the rigor of each standard. So what does it look like to, let's say, subtract in a particular grade versus subtracting and borrowing and place value, multiple digit numbers, things like that. So those are two separate things to me. As far as what Sweetwater's doing, I can only speak to when we adopted the curriculum we have now, CPM. We did articulate with Sweetwater to ensure that, because we know there is movement between the two systems, we knew that our students would potentially leave 6th grade, many do, and go to 7th grade with them, or even if they start with us in 7th grade, they might move and want to go to 8th grade in Sweetwater. So we adopted the same curriculum as Sweetwater, and we did attend meetings, trainings, professional development with them over in their professional development center off of that L
Yeah.
Street. And so that is something that we absolutely would look to do, particularly for that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and what that looks like. And I don't know at this point what the materials will look like. What we are waiting for the framework to be published. It's been approved, but we are waiting for it to be published. Once it's published, the publishers will look at the framework and start to propose their curriculum to the CDE. And then those that are vetted and approved would come our direction for possible piloting. Looking at. Mhm.
Thank you. Now, when will the final test scores reach us?
Well, I mean, there's multiple things. So the English learner, as we call it, the EPI, is coming out I put it in my notes for you. I want to say September. Oh, I'm going to look at September. Okay, that's what September. The dashboard, I mean, I think it just depends on when the entire dashboard comes out. We're hoping for September. I know last year there was the whole thing that it was January, and then I know there was advocacy to get it released earlier, and it was released earlier. So when we do receive all of that information, we will come before you with a report.
Oh, yes, I know you will.
Yeah.
I was just
We
wondering when,
Yeah.
what's projected.
Yeah.
Thank you. And kind of along the same line, the well, not really, the enrollment update.
Mhm.
Do you have any data on how many combo classes are out there and at what level they are?
I do not with me. I mean, we can
Okay.
certainly share that information. It's on all of our TCH reports. We just looked at class sizes the other day and combinations, but I don't have that with me right now.
No, that's fine.
And,
Good
and to
perspective.
be honest, it really depends on the school site because one of the dilemmas is as the enrollment gets smaller, you get these grade levels that have 1.5 classes worth of students. So we do have some combos out there, but I couldn't speak to every
Yes.
specific right now.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
would appreciate
Mhm.
knowing that because. Yeah. Mhm. I just have one more question. This is kind of a clarification question on the formative assessments.
Mhm.
So, when you have the groups get together, are they by site or are you looking for the one that they're gonna use at that grade level, let's say?
So when we're talking about it's, there's multiple steps to this process. So right now at the site level, they're coming together and they're identifying a common assessment at their grade level team. We're sending out little, like, I guess you call it survey links to them where they're putting that information so that we're gathering all of the data across the system. So eventually we want to get to a point in the primary grades where it is consistent across all grade levels. But we want that data. We discussed this in consultation committee, sort of set the plan and then I said we want to look at that data as it comes back in and see what are people using, a read, I can think of, like I mentioned, the BPST in order to address spelling patterns or phonics. There's different assessments. Some people are still using the San Diego Quick. The other day I saw a SNAP word assessment of words where the child was reading and the teacher was tallying, do they know those SNAP or sight words? So yes, ultimately we'd like to have consistency, but right now we're just really gathering that information and would like to see consistency across the grade level at the school.
Across the grade level or across the grade level throughout the district? I'm wondering if there's going to be a choice.
Well, not having all the data, I think we really need to look at the data and I would think at some point we would identify what we want to see. It's sort of like the negotiable and the non-negotiable or what they used to say, the may do, must do. So there can be an assessment that everyone does, but that doesn't stop a teacher from potentially using another assessment that they like or they get good information from. But ultimately, we want to simplify and make it consistent. And we're hoping to find assessments that also simplify the process for the teacher because we recognize that assessment takes time. Exactly. And so we don't want a teacher to have to use 3 or 4 different assessments. It'd be nice if we can eventually find that one or maybe
That's
2 assessments that cover
comprehensive,
everything
yeah.
that we need to. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I think those are my little questions. Thank you very much. And thank you you always have a lot of answer for a simple question, which I really appreciate. It indicates a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of thinking, so thank you.
Well, and as it was mentioned, I need to thank my team because I am not doing this work alone. This is really a team effort across the entire division, all of the departments and everyone that supports that work.
I'll let you go. I don't know if
I was dismissed.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if it goes to TV or you, but I really like that the TOSAs are assigned a school and or so, and that they're can take outside, I want to call it a work order, but attention order. Okay, we need attention over here. So that option is available for teachers too. Can you describe to us a TOSAs assigned to a school and or schools? Do they have their own office or is it a classroom?
I would say it varies by site. they've been asked to have space, but I couldn't tell you, it varies by site.
Okay. So they're centralized here at the district and then they're sent to, they come to work, and then they go to Berry or they'll go to Central on that schedule. But they're on that schedule.
Yes.
So automatically they're there from 8 to 2.
Well, they would be assigned to their school site. So right now they are assigned to school sites and they're alternating the weeks at the school site. So yes, they would go and they, for example, go and meet with the principal, see what the goal is or the plan is as far as offering slots and times to the teachers to work with, and then they're signing up for those times. So again, it's based on the focus. I can share that it's not limited either. So I want to make that clear. It's not limited. So it may be that you had the question about a combination. So it may be that we have a combination teacher who needs support in how to balance the curriculum at 2 different grade levels. That is something that the TOSA can meet with the teacher and support them in doing. And that's at the site level. So the principal's also sharing what their needs are. So it's supporting the literacy, the 3 literacy bullets. It's supporting their area of expertise or content. And it's also the other work. So it's not limited. So I think, I'm glad you asked the question because I think that's really important to understand that they're there to support the site and the principals are asking them for support in different areas.
So, the TOSAs are not working with students?
TOSA's, the role of the TOSA, a teacher on special assignment, is to support teachers and professional development.
So in the absence of a request or direction by the principal, what is the TOSA doing?
Oh, TOSAs they receive signups or requests to come in, are working with teachers and working with the principals.
So when the TOSAs are at the district office during the workday, there is no assignment for them?
So the TOSAs are not located at the district office. The TOSAs work out of a classroom or have a office space at Mendoza Elementary. So they are there. They have regular meetings with their supervisors. They engage in professional development and learning to support the sites, and then they are assigned to the sites.
Yeah, because I asked you that. They had an office there or a classroom assigned to them.
Right, but Mendoza is their hub. So Mendoza is where they've been. So last year that was their hub. So they do have a classroom space, but it's multiple people in one room. So that's why I'm saying like classroom, office space, it's been at one point 5 or 6 people, maybe 6 originally in that one room.
Perfect word, hub.
Mhm.
Okay, so from the hub,
Yes,
they go out to their work sites.
yes, to their school sites.
Right.
Mhm.
And so in developing the plan and the path of work going forward for the year, they've already met with the principals to
Yes,
decide, okay, here we are, where are we going to go and how are we going to get there? So as we progress through the years, the plan is already set. Our staff needs staff development here. Individual teachers can request on an individual basis. So their workday should be a full workday as if they had students all day.
it is a full workday. Yes.
But, I just don't want to get the SWATA's survey results that we've had in the last 7 years that speak to the absence or the non-support in this role. And I started saving them so I could compare them each year, what school is saying what in this professional development support system. It's an over $1 million program. Easy. So we want it to be effective. We want it to be strong, and we want it to be a full day of support and designated and targeted. And that's my view. And so looking forward in this TOSA program, that's what I'm going to be listening to is that teacher survey. that says, we like it, or, you know, we need work here. That's okay. We always need work. So that's not a negative in my mind, okay? But for the program to be strong, we need a strong, instructors and providing our teachers the, resources that they deserve. So,
So if I could speak to, when we did our LCAP input sessions, we specifically added the area of professional development. So it was goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, reflect on what's working, any wonderings, improvements. And then we specifically addressed professional development. And in those survey results, there was a great deal of positivity around the work that TOSAs are doing. And in fact, I think assigning them to sites is, when you talk about areas for refinement, that was in many it wasn't a survey, it was the LCAP input about professional development. But many of the comments would love to have a TOSA at our school site. So we do listen to that. And again, I said, it's always adjusting to meet the needs of our staff, our schools, our students. And so we are doing that, and the TOSAs are doing that. And I felt that the feedback around professional development and the role of the TOSA was very positive.
well, I look forward to reading that myself. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Any other questions before she leaves the room? No. Yes, it is your turn. Proclamation, Attendance Awareness Month was pulled by Trustee Quinones.
Yay! Every year I look forward to this proclamation. The district I'm telling you, of all the superintendents I've ever worked for or with, no other superintendent has got my flag and ran with it. Thank you. For 7 years, I've been working on this work to ensure that my superintendent could hear me. Our superintendent hears me. All the supportive systems that you put in place, as shared tonight, again, all the feedback that we get about our attendance, even after Hillary, okay, is because of the plan that you put in place, Superintendent. It just gives me chills that, we're up 6, okay? We made a change in the lives of 6 students more, okay? Look, and that to me is chilling, because when we look at our community and our low-income community, the struggles that our community goes through, making 6 more connections brings me a lot of hope for our little community. Generational poverty is a real thing in our community. In order for our community to get out of generational poverty, it's going to take a long time. But all our numbers this week alone, we are making an impact. Thank you, Superintendent. I pulled this because I think it's real important that we correct the board doc, Madam President. In the board doc, it speaks to impact on student achievement. It says there is no impact on student achievement related to this item. That's not true. Every day a child comes to school, there's an impact on student achievement. Our teachers are ready. The schools are clean and accessible. All the children need to do is walk through that corridor to their teacher and have student achievement every minute, every day. So that item needs to be changed forevermore, Superintendent, that it does have direct student achievement forever. going on to the proclamation, Madam President, and I don't want to keep it too long, but this is very important. It's important to our schools, it's important to our community that the word chronic needs to be changed to acute. Because every day a child doesn't come to school, it's acute. And as the superintendent team rallied around on Sunday, that was an acute moment. Do we open? Do we stay closed? How do we get, what? And so I was the what, and the superintendent was the how. And so this, family said, well, we'll make the decision whether we come to school on Monday. Well, the decision's already made. School is compulsory. That's the law. If you want to be absent on Monday, well, you can't be absent next Monday because, it's going to be a Friday, Monday thing, early in, early out. Central knows about all that. So every day matters. And I hope the board, last month I said I'm putting all my chips in on this. Attendance every day. I hope the board would join me on this. And superintendent, once the board votes on this, if you could please push it out to our schools, publish it. We are moving forward with every day counts. Thank you. With that, I move the item forward.
I'd like to suggest that we table it until September meeting because you suggested some changes. I mean, we can't vote on it with the changes, except a couple of words.
I didn't ask for any change. I just moved the item forward after my big old long talk.
Okay, so you're suggesting as is.
The proclamation itself, the board doc itself needs to be changed. Impact on student achievement. There is no impact needs to say in the future. There is impact on student achievement.
Okay, so what I understand is that you're saying that proclamation is good to go. And then the wording and the description of it is what you feel is period. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to vote on this separately. So you moved it. I will second it. You'll second it. You'll third it, fourth it, and we'll take a vote. How's that?
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
President
Yes.
Ellsworth, can I just add
Oh,
something to that?
please.
Just because we're talking about the attendance, I'm going to read, I don't have my glasses on, but I'm going to do my best to read some of the attendance rates for Monday and then some of the same attendance rates for Tuesday. 74%, and these are different schools. I'm just reading them down like I said, schools. 74% on Monday, 75, 75, 83, 80, 79%. The attendance rates on Tuesday were 92%, 94%, 95%, 95%, 94%, 96%. I am so proud of our schools and our students that turn that attendance around from Monday to Tuesday. So I do want to say that our schools, our staff are doing such an amazing job and our students are getting to school. Our district goal is 95% across our district. And so to achieve that goal, every school has to be around 95% or better. So just wanted to kind of add that really quickly. Really proud of our schools and our system and our students.
And on the ground proclamation. Thank you. Yes. Now we go to Director Susie Chavez, and we need to have a public hearing on the sufficiency of instructional materials.
In August 2004, the state of California settled the Williams versus California lawsuit of 2000. This led to the Williams settlement legislation, which ensures that all students have equal access to instructional materials, qualified teachers, and safe, clean, and adequate facilities. Each school year, the Board of Trustees is required to adopt a resolution determining sufficiency of instructional materials in August. Central Mendoza and Oneonta received visitations from Williams Settlement Facility Reviews Team. Once again, the district was in compliance with all Williams legislation requirements. It is respectfully requested that the superintendent recommend conduct of a public hearing and adoption of resolution 23-017 regarding sufficiency of instructional materials.
I'm going to open the public hearing for comments on resolution 23017.
There are no comments.
Okay, thank you. And it's adjourned now. So I will entertain a motion to adopt resolution 23017. So moved. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. Let's call for the vote.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Riker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
You're welcome. Okay, now we're on to the consent calendar. Will I hear a motion to accept it as it is with the change?
I move the consent calendar forward as amended.
Thank you. Second? Okay. Vote, please.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Riker.
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Future agenda items. At this time, each trustee may suggest one topic for a future board meeting. Future agenda item follow-up items in this case. I'm going to recognize Superintendent Jose Espinosa to provide direction on the next steps on future agenda items from the July 27th meeting.
All right, thank you. And this is the opportunity for the board to reach consensus on whether or not they would like to hear an item at some point in the future agenda around the community schools project, which Trustee Lopez Aguino asked about, and also an additional item on the TOSA program, which was also asked about by Trustee Medina. So this is the board's opportunity to reach consensus on that.
Let's take the community schools issue first. Is there consensus on moving some kind of update on this matter?
And I hope there is consensus. I think this is something that's very important. It's a huge opportunity we have at the district. And I would love to learn more about what we're doing to implement it and how do we make sure that we include all the stakeholders. I really appreciate your support on this.
Okay.
Madam President, if you could, please have that document, copied by Amy so she can distribute it to the staff that Vanessa gave you about community schools. Oh. That in your parking lot to-do list. This one. So we'll all have. Is that this one? Is that one? Oh, we got one of that. We
Yeah.
got, sorry. It's my, I want to support you in every step that you take here because, community schools means a lot of things to a lot of people and different things to a lot of people. So, we're just in the planning stage, I think, 6 months or something, for 2 schools. So, maybe a quick update from the superintendent, would that help you as far as, who's meeting and when?
Yeah, I mean, I think as much information that we can get is important. I just want to make sure that, we understand what's happening and also that the parents, the teachers, right, all the staff, are aware of it, because from my understanding, community schools is like a collective, work that we all have to do together.
Okay.
So the more information, the better.
Okay, so
Yep.
support.
If I can just add a little bit of information. In the board's update, there was a summary of the information we have already shared with the board. So currently, the district has received a planning grant, and so has IB Middle. They are two separate planning grants. We are working with the county on what community schools and some of the requirements and the guidelines that are being provided through the grant that, of course, we have to follow if we want the funding. And so that's our current stage right now. The county, we start earlier than the county, obviously. And so they haven't really started there's really no other information at this point. But I could see maybe in October or November being able to bring back, additional information around, our progress with the planning grant
Okay, so in the near future,
in the near future.
when
Yes.
we have more information.
Yes. And we are working directly with the county with, implementing our planning grant.
I agree with moving it forward to whenever we can get the new information.
Well, I think we
Yes.
need to ask Jose how he feels about that.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, now the additional information on the TOSA program, including data on how we measure the success of the program. I think you were mentioning this when you were speaking on the matter, impact of the program with students, and how we ensure that teachers are taking advantage of this work. You mentioned all that, so how do you feel about that? What do you want?
This is trustee Medina's request.
I beg your pardon.
So I'm waiting on a response on how is this question, my questions, how they're gonna be measured and all that. So I'm looking forward for those answers.
Okay, yeah, where are the answers going to be coming from?
Maybe a Friday update. It
From-
doesn't have
from
to
the
be, yes,
superintendent, you
it
mean?
doesn't have to be in a board meeting, but I just want information. So if I have more questions are gonna be coming
Okay,
up.
so you agree with pushing it forward? Yes.
And I hope I get consensus from.
Multiple questions.
Mhm.
Comment. When we have a presentation by our assistant superintendent, Pamela, about different functions and different programs, that, I really would hope that the board finds the voice to ask. In this instance, it was about TOSAs. And so, I think that, trustee Medina has some good asks here. But when the answers are available to us, we should ask the question. And so it's not just like coming from me, it's gotta be all of us that, we ask the question of the presenter. And if we don't, we get into a little snarl down here about more information, making more work, that could have been answered with our presentator here. And so, my suggestion here is that we, monitor the program as best the information that's provided to us on our Friday update, and that we review the principal survey by the teachers, and that's the best indicator how the program is working for teachers. That would be my position.
So would you, want this to be brought forth as an agendized item, a more comprehensive report?
No, the last time that I brought this up is because I thought at the end, like we usually do, we get a response. That's why I did not ask them to come, because this was something that I asked before in the previous meeting.
Okay. But we're not settled on the issue, correct? We're not done with the issue.
It looks like there's consensus
Mm-hmm.
to bring back additional information.
Right.
We did provide some information today. We didn't really talk about how we are measuring it. So that is something that we can look at, explore a little bit further and then bring additional information. Trustee Medina has said that it could be provided in the update, which, we'd be happy to do that. But our goal, of course, and I've heard the board around this item, when we are investing funding in a program, any program, we want to make sure that it is working and that we are getting positive results for our students. So I hear the board on this, and if the board agrees, we will bring additional information and we will really look at how we measure the success of that program in particular.
Are we all in agreement with that assessment? Yes. Okay, communication from the Board of Trustees. We get 3 minutes each, not just all together. Is there anybody? Oh, somebody wants to go first. Yay.
I wanted to just share that a couple weeks ago, or not last week, I got a chance to visit Berry Elementary School, and it was really cool. I think probably the coolest thing I've done as a school board member, being able to go back to my old school, and it was really nice. I'm really grateful for Mr. Prosapio. He even shared old yearbooks with me. And I got to see my classmates. I saw some of you all, like Pamela. I didn't know you were at Berry, which is really cool. And then as we were doing the visit, we walked into Miss Vinland's 4th grade classroom. And I was like, I think that might be Miss Vinland. And I saw her name on the board. I got a chance to say hi to her. She invited me to say a few words in front of her students. It was really cool. And it really reminded me like why I decided to do this. At home, I kept thinking like, wow, that was so cool. I can't believe that, I was just there. And I saw Miss Vinland. She looks exactly the same. And I remembered it was her first year at Berry, her first year as a teacher. And we were a really hard class. I think I remember her, I don't know if she told us that she had to think about if this was something that she actually wanted to do. And 25 years later, to see her still here was great. And I'm really glad to see the work Mr. Prosapio is doing. I feel like Berry is in really good hands. And yeah, I'm again very proud and excited to do this work and see the continuous growth and how the improvements that we're going to make in the next few years. So again, thank you all for the work that you do, and I'm excited to keep doing this.
He needs to take a break. Oh, of course. Thank you.
So my children are students at Nestor, and I was able to go to their back to school night, which was amazing to be able to sit there and sit in both my daughter's classrooms and sit in their desks, and both were beautifully prepared. My oldest just started one of the after school programs. Happy Minds is what it's called, or one of the clubs. And she's loving it. I think part of it might be because she gets to be away from her little sister and do something on her own. But most of all, what I thought was really neat was my first grader, she has been offered the opportunity to get some extra help from the junior high students with her reading. And I love that they're using that model of like cross-age tutoring so that the junior high students can become role models and know that they are valued and they're gonna have the opportunity to work with little ones and be looked up to and take that seriously. And my little one gets extra help, so that is all.
Yay. I'm glad to hear that your child is in club. I really listened very tentatively because the clubs last year were amazing. And the schools that provide this type of environment only increase the good culture of our schools. And the ownership of a school by a student that will last a lifetime. And they won't forget that club. I want to thank everybody for coming out to our 100-year plaque celebration. I'm thankful if that was a donation. I'm thankful for that donation. It's beautiful, nicely set right there on that wall, and I think it will last another 100 years. Look for us in the Eagle Times. We'll have a write-up and a picture. I want to thank the PTA for all their work. Getting parents involved is a hard thing, especially when we work. And so having the availability to go on Zoom meetings, I've been on several, is a great opportunity to connect with parents where they live and hearing screaming children. So thank you for your leadership in that role. I challenge any board member that is not a member to go online, send us that link again, and become a member. It'll ask you, if you're a parent or whatever, there's this new slot there that says supporter. So you select supporter, and so there you go. I want to applaud the district in their amazing effort in getting kids to school. Keeping kids engaged is one thing, but when they keep coming back, then the party's a good party. And that's, I've always said you can plan the party, but if nobody shows up, there's no party. So our kids are showing up, and I want to applaud all the schools that have, welcome back children with balloons and noisemakers, and it was so fun to see, and thankful that the social media presence is growing, and Twitter's, well, by X, I don't like the X, but the X mark says good stuff. And so it really gets out to our community that our kids are having a good time learning and to keep coming. So I want to recognize all those that do that for us and for their schools and their teachers and for students and community. I also want to speak to staff shortages. First, I want to give a shout out to Human Resources and their department that they have been banging away for months, not years. This is not typical. Okay. The jobs postings, they'll stay there. We're still looking for a nurse. It'll be there. Okay. We were looking for an Oneonta teacher, upper grade Oneonta teacher. We're still looking. So Human Resources is out really working hard and getting the job fairs. It's not so much that the jobs are vacant, because if you know a heavy duty mechanic, send them our way. We're looking. Okay. We don't work in an isolated bubble. If you know somebody that can go and be a student supervisor, we'll connect them. Okay, connect them to Human Resources, please. Everybody is needed. So I'm not worried about how many jobs that are open. Okay. I'm worried about the staff that is working so hard to fill them. So thank you to your staff, Melissa. Thank you for the work. It's not easy to find classified, but it's even harder to find teachers. And our teachers are, starting pay is higher. Our substitute rate is higher. Coronado just had a board meeting that pushed them up a couple of dollars. We pay double for a substitute teacher. We pay double. So don't go for Coronado, come to South Bay. So with that, thank you again. Thank you to the school sites and human resources. Monday was challenging, and but we made it through. And I spoke with the superintendent about our safety manual, and he's going to look at that and record what we did through those experiences because they were unique, but I don't think they're going to be isolated to that day. So thank you for all your work.
I just want to echo what Trustee Guinness just said. Thank you everyone for your hard work and thank you for being here tonight. Have a good evening.
And speaking of hard work, well, it wasn't really hard work. Our district supports professional development, and that includes the school board. So was it last weekend or the weekend before? Last weekend, we went up to San Marcos for our first session for, it's called Masters in Government, but you don't really get to move on the pay scale with it. But it's very informative. They talk about the different areas that our job is responsible for overseeing, from finance to hiring to student achievement to setting direction. And that's only half of them. There are many more. We have started, we will have 4 sessions in the next couple of months. So that's our professional development. Yeah, me too. You should come. And VIP, oh my gosh, this is the first time in 3 or 4 years, pre-pandemic, was it? Yeah, that they had the parents and they're so little, you guys, they're really little. They're 3 and 4, maybe, I think there's some 2-year-olds in there. There's 3-year-olds, oh my gosh. And they're just a lot of fun to read too. I have to bring down the level of the book because I thought I was okay, but no, that time of day, which was early evening, you know, it makes you think again. I was a teacher, but I was a 5th grade teacher. That's a little bit different crowd. So I really appreciate that it's come back because it really is a wonderful event. And Pete the Cat was there, better known as Katie Roberson, but she's alive after being in that suit. Okay, and with that said, I'd like to say good evening and thank you. There, was that better than last time? Yeah, she only gave us one